Hey, hey. One of my neighbors, either the ones to the left or the right, just, slammed their door like super hard. And they normally do things like, pound the wall, things of that nature. And it is insane to me when people destroy their own property or like hit their own property in order to like try to look intimidating or disruptive or anything like that. It looks really stupid. Like, have you ever seen those videos of somebody trying to look like super tough and whatnot like that? So like they will like hit their heads. Like you'll see some type of, I was gonna say weirdo, but yeah, like the back kind of weirdo, but like you'll see some weird person literally like go and then like hit their head on something, and it's just like if anything, I would use that momentum on that person. You feel me? And then scream, like in their face, like some type of warrior cry or something like that, like dead ass. Like that's the move that would have been like the bestest. But it's just like they'll hit either they'll hit either something else that's not even the person's things, or they'll injure like their property or like something like that. Like I can get when you're being frustrated, but it was just like if you're trying to make a point, like that's not the point. Like you don't want to do that. That's crazy. Um so yeah, like so every single time when people have done that, like that's literally how I looked at you. I looked at you like the chump and stupid ass person that you were. All this time you thought you were doing something, and you were doing something. Just not what you were not what your objective was. Mm. Speaking of objectives, the title of this video is called Kumbaya-ish, in which white people, especially Jewish people, because Jewish people are definitely at the headline of this abuse. So it's like they definitely have called out who they are, but it's Jewish people and Black people. So they definitely are at the helm of everything. The two most notable historic oppressed people decided to oppress a Black person who has, who grew up in a salad bowl kind of environment, meaning like of multiple races and things of that nature. And it's just really taking it out on me and a whole bunch of other people are literally that are non-Black, other people who are like people of color, white and Black, have all ganged up and decided to just try to take my character, do a really horrendous, like slanderous campaign against me in order to try to like to silence me. With all these years, this has been orchestrated through like, I shit you not, slavery. So it's one thing for white people, which is typical for white people to sit on the sidelines and let Black people kill each other and fight with each other. But it's another thing in its entirety for them to participate and also to help exploit for themselves the bullshit that's been going on. So if it's like slavery and stuff, they're like, fuck yeah, of course they're going to be down for it. Actually, the Black people are about bullying and exploiting, and the white people, of course, they want to get their coin. So they decided to definitely, especially the stereotype of Jews, definitely, it's, am I lying? Like, what your stereotypes are. So it's just like people took it upon themselves to definitely go about a really horrific and ugly ass way in order to abuse me for unjust cause and unjust reasons. And now people are either in the midst of victimizing themselves. They're trying to victim blame me, and also still take my character. And it's just like you shown your ass, and the best that they can do right now is say that my feelings toward all of this, it makes me as bad as them, or like my thoughts, or my not having any patience with them, because it really calls out your intentions when you say things like oh, just have patience, we're working on it, this is all an investigation. And it's obviously when Black people and white people Black people and white people, let's cut it a bean. Like black people and white people are notorious for, not keeping through with shit. I mean, shit. You have a president right now who's talking about, promises about student loan forgiveness, and then you have black people with the, I got you, I got you. That's So I don't really depend on. I really don't have. Obviously, I don't have hope or faith in man. It's always about like what materializes. There should be no invoice or no belief or faith in my abusers. Okay. Like when an abuser is literally using a tactic, especially when it's religion, and that's literally the foundation of what this country is on, in God we trust. So they've taken it upon themselves to try to incorporate my slavery with traditionally religion. So now we have some really disgusting as Zionists and Christians collaborating together in order to try to oppress me further, take me out, and I don't mean to dinner. Um, and yeah, just assassinate my character. So just like assassinating my character and just me in a physical sense. So I am at least going to say, since people make these passive threats, say what it is that I need to say before anything definitely materializes any further, because I definitely want to account, and I am accounting for everything, considering that people were saying that have patience, the audacity to have this cruelness to be like, have patience while you're undergoing slavery. I shit you not, this is modern slavery. If you're exploiting me, you're watching me, surveilling me without my permission, that's a human zoo experiment. You're doing that 24/7, and you're doing that with the world, men, women, teens, adults, senior citizens, and the like, watching me without my permission, definitely invading my privacy and feeling entitled to talk about me in ugly ass ways, and then making a whole bunch of like, false allegations and gossip about me. That in itself is wrong. That in itself obviously is wrong, but that has stricken and revoked my civil and human rights, because now I'm treated inhumanely. You have done nasty things to me, to my food. And while I'm over here still, paying for whatever it is that I can pay for, or pay for anything that I choose to pay for, considering what the fuck you guys are doing to me, um, it has been definitely a ride down the slavery trail, like for real, for reals, for real, for reals, and is nothing but criticism by hypocrite people who are users. These are people who literally go day by day wanting to be inspired or use me for emotional, physical, well, obviously because, well, physical labor, because they like seeing me work and things of that nature and move around and take my things. So physical labor, emotional, because somehow these people have gained like this weird kind of ass physical, like emotional kind of connection, and then they want to blame me for it because I don't want to return that in kind. So there's literally men of many ages, very varying ages, that take it upon themselves to try to possess me or control me, or like excuse me, possess me, control, be controlling, and label me as any kind of thing from like whatever they see from afar, because up close and personal they'll never. Okay. The best that they can do is just try to ride by me or something like that, talk to me. But it's just like, it's literally, if it's anything where it's like I'm at a store or something like that, it's politeness. But then in that, I don't fucking talk with these people. I don't do anything with these people. And I don't owe them anything. And they are really fucking tight. So people, regardless, people have taken it upon themselves, especially men, to label me as some type of like anything under the sun, from some type of love interest to slave, like they're that fucking slug from Star Wars or some shit. Then I have women unfucking vote taking it upon themselves to believe that I should want to compete with them or use me as some type of metric to measure exactly their self-worth and their value. And in tandem, what they do, especially the women, they hold sex from men, or they'll chance a lot, or like, they'll persuade men with their bodies in order to just, hey, look, why don't you do this to this woman? Why don't you do that to this woman? Why don't you do, all these other ugly ass things, in order to fuck with my rights and my movements around the world, or like, anything, any of my like, legal involvements when it comes to me with my business or my work, my paychecks, bank, they've done fraud, everything under the sun. And you guys know this, but I'm literally speaking on behalf, well, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I'm speaking to the future generations. And I'm not talking about the young people in their 20s or even their teens. I'm talking about children. And I'm talking about people who are literally going to grow up and realize this like they've done back in the day with the 1960s and things of that nature. And it's crazy on how performative, how people are literally being so fucking disgusting and performative about caring about the civil rights movement, black people oppression, and things of that nature. But here they were being total fucking hypocrites and liars because they've literally done nothing but exploit and do oppressive situations on multiple occasions for for over a decade, damn near 2 decades, on me, on me. And in the midst of that, they've been doing a whole lot of illegal shit. And I'm not just talking about me this time, but just like me and other people and just in general. And rather than me just, having my justice and reacclimating to the world, like, back in the day when it happened with slavery, minus, the poor and intentional lack of protection that the government gave blacks. No, they just rather keep this shit going. And it's really crazy on how people are talking about patience, patience, patience. And that shit has been running back since like 2021, 2020, 2020, 2021 that I knew of. But 2020 that supposedly that I researched like the earliest videos with people like kind of saying it passively. So 2020 with people really being in their situation, government professionals, government officials, professionals, and the like, being on some whole, oh, we're working on it, we're investigating, but you've known this for over a decade. There should have been a plan already. You're the only thing you're doing is showing and confirming that you never had a plan and you never had any intention in order for me to have my justice. Therefore, I don't have any fucking patience for you guys. I don't have to give you a goddamn thing. I really don't. I really fucking don't. So, this is me, obviously, coming on here accordingly because there are a lot of people, whether it's like companies, churches, things of that nature, everything under the sun. And I, starting Wednesday, I have time. I have fucking time. So since people definitely wanted to sit on their hands and act performative as if they were going to actually do something in regards to my justice, I have nothing but time to go ahead and just kind of like hit the ground running when it comes to me making steps and moves. I shit you not, because it is really fucked up and foul on how people were being very lazy, cavalier, and misleading and gaslighting about what it is about my justice, and how people don't want to, actually take accountability or responsibility for the fuck ups that they've done. This is the moment where people took it upon themselves to just be greedy, self-serving, and entitled. Every fucking day, there's some person who has a bad day, and they either will project on me, they'll make their past and their history my past by lying on me. They'll use me as a fucking blanket because like, oh, well, she has it harder, so, let me not just, they'll use me as some fucking toy, some type of stuffed animal to talk to, like, kind of passively, like, oh, the spirit of Shalice, like, just, oh, I want you to just like, just calm down and start here. Like, this is not something that you would literally say to somebody who's enslaved. But yes, you're actually doing that. You're actually doing that. And because I guess I've been giving you guys witty remarks and things of that nature, you took it upon yourself where you thought the shit was okay. You're racist. You're racist. And it really is showing, like, when it comes to it shows black people really repeating the shit that people over, like, back in our history had happened when it was like, the Africans had sold Africans over to the Europeans and then kept doing it once they had up until like the 1800s. And we're just, it's very cyclical. It is extremely cyclical. So I want us to go about, like I said, I'm just, I'm using my studies in order to go ahead and perform these matters when it comes to getting my justice. Pardon me, because it needs to happen. It really needs to happen. Ooh, lemon. All right, so here's the thing. At this point in time, I'm pretty much expecting, since my abusers had the free time to take it upon themselves to be in their group chats and do a serious, campaign through social media, and the like, to take my character and assassinate, every little facet of myself. Right now, since I said that, I have, the free time starting on Wednesday, they're gonna have that whole, oh, I have better things to do. I'm not gonna worry about this. People need to just, grow up and move on and things of that nature. Um, you had 10 years. You had 10 years to fucking change, and you want it to be fucking messy. But it really gives punk coward ass bitch. It gives a moment where you just like, where you actually approach somebody who's been saying a lot of shit to you, and you'll be like, did you say something? Because now that I actually have the time to go ahead, like head to head, well, unfortunately, the bitch never says anything to my face. So it's just like, now that I have the opportunity to just keep going day after day, if necessary, to publicly go ahead and work accordingly with keeping up to date and recording exactly how fucked up political leaders are in New Jersey and in New Jersey, then, then that's when we're going to see some things. Then that's when we're going to see some things. There's no holidays, so there's no reason why offices should be closed and I should be getting like the runaround or anything like that. I'm going to take it upon myself to go ahead. Like, I already know that you guys have this plan because, again, you've been watching me. You've been watching me without my permission. So just know that I'm just putting it out there because, I just made this because I'm making this. I made this a plan. So I don't want this to be like, somebody trying to make it seem like this is something that, that they came up with. I'm literally just kind of going off the cuff about like what the situation is. It's not like, oh, I'm revealing something so now people can be prepared. It's just like, I've already made these plans, and unfortunately, with being publicly broadcasted without my permission in a very, very disrespectful way, I have no choice but to go ahead and say not everything under the sun, but just say as much as possible in order to hold people accountable, and also to hold myself accountable as I go ahead and get my justice, because people have literally said to save yourself. Real shit, real talk. Um, so yeah, like, people, obviously all these people are users. All these people are abusers. They've used me in some form or fashion in order to exploit me for their own personal self-serving gain, under the guise of, like, human trafficking, or trying to say it's bullying, but bullying in itself will just pass with just like, making like these little comments. So, but in tandem, underneath the umbrella of slavery, that is one of the major things that's like literally people do to antagonize me. They've done multiple things that falls underneath slavery, and that is one of them. So, people will try to also use the distraction of, because I have a project to do. They'd be like, oh, well, don't you have anything better to worry about? Like, you have other things to worry about, and this, that, and the third. Like, that is called a distraction, a deflection. So naturally, people, it's just like somebody like, it's like little kid shit, because that's what it pretty much started out as, like little kitty shit. So I don't ever want the females to think that they were fucking like, innocent in all this, because they were literally the fucking instigators. They really were. And they use that to their advantage in order to get themselves positioned, seats of power. And they'll think of it like, by any means necessary, or, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, things of that shit. And it was just like, you're abusing that slogan for malintent, for malicious reasons. Like, you were never innocent. Like, you've been really a jealous person, and it's not about money. Like, the things that you've done has been this way since grade school, since grade school. And now that I decided on my own before even knowing and getting confirmation from people, it was just like I already knew to cut you off before even getting the confirmations. And now to know that people are still being vindictive, from family members to, excuse me, from relatives, because I don't fuck with these people, they're not family, from relatives to ex-friends, is just like, okay, yeah, like you definitely have shown your ass. And if by any means necessary you're over here to try to, like, um annihilate my character and my identity and who I am as a human being, then I have no choice but to, respond in kind. And it seems like, if anything, I would have a more favorable win, considering I'm working in truth and you're working in your truth, but it's actual lies. Here I am still in the same fucking house, and you're still over here thinking that, saying some shit like, oh, she was homeless and this, that, here, and the third. I've had this house for decades. Yeah. Yeah, actually, this house I've acquired this house when I was 21, so it's over a decade. Mm. And it's just shy of a few, like a few years shy of 2 decades. Yeah, I acquired this house from foreclosure, and and I'm able to sell it by the end of this year. So how are you coming? And when I moved temporarily to other locations, which was in New York City only, I was renting this place out. So again, how are you coming? Like, yo, you have to make it about, because I was actually, during that time when I was living in New York, I was going to events. I was going to social media events and things of that nature. So when it seems like people are trying, or going to try to make it seem like, oh, this person is like a D-lister and things like that, it's because during around that time, you guys were actually, I wasn't a D-lister then, but during that time, you were already going ahead surveilling me, and there was no just reason in order to do that. So there's a lot. So basically, I'm unveiling and exposing a lot of, like, duplicitous things that happen from, within the government, and also through Black people, and they had started this shit for self-serving reasons. I can't, like, yo, it's utterly disgusting. So I don't really have much else to say, but that was, basically the gist of it. All this other bullshit is just obviously lies. I'm working in accordance to, working on my other things and also addressing this shit. But I don't take kindly to people being like, oh, this is the real you and things of that nature. If that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But you're talking from a very hypocritical and a victimizing standpoint, considering that, one, you're the abuser, and abuser apologist, a supporter. Two, you actually are, well, you're lying through your fucking ass teeth. Because considering that this is the fucking country that has decided to, start wars in order to separate and, free themselves from another country or another ruler or dictatorship, parliament, that those like that kind of sense. Like, you're lying through your teeth. There's been wars upon wars. There's been movement actions with guns from, like, civil was it Revolutionary War, Civil War. Then you have World War Two, World War Two, and then you have small things with the civil rights movement, and you have, Black Panthers with the guns, and you have people with guns, period. And then you have, well, I don't want to count January 6th, because that was so fucking messy and so fucking embarrassing to be from, like, I think it was so fucking embarrassing, considering you trashed that. You guys trashed George Floyd's rioters, which was like a mixed blend of all races, all creeds, and then took it upon yourself to storm the Capitol and use guns and stuff. Like, you have to admit, like, yo, that's just so wow for you had to have done that. Like, come now. The president himself, like, the president then himself was just like, stop it, stop. I'm sorry. That's just wild. That is really wild. Like I receive basically that energy from you guys when it comes to just the bullshit. When it comes to that kind of hypocrisy, like you thought that what the rioters were doing was just hoodlums, ghetto, and all that kind of shit. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the shit that they were doing was self-serving because they were trying to like make it seem like it was for the cause of Black Lives Matter when it wasn't. But the overall gist of it, the overall gist of it was for Black Lives Matter. So when you guys decided to storm the Capitol, it was entirely not for a just cause. You literally took it upon yourselves to be self-serving and do the same thing, if not worse. Like, actually, this was worse. This was worse because with the rioters and shit like that, there was police brutality when people were having peaceful fucking protests. But here you were just like, my latte is not warm enough. Oh, they use like 2% milk instead of fucking like oat milk, and you're just like, we're gonna storm. Like obviously that's not the objective that you did, but it was just like that's the comparison of like how pathetic it was because you wanted to keep a president in office that actually should not have been there because he wasn't doing the job correctly. Not saying that the one that's currently doing the job is good too, but it's just like, like it's just, man, it's wild. So yeah. So it's just mad that it's maddening for you guys to act very like childish and be like, you know what? Now you all of a sudden, instead of actually being accountable, responsible, and shutting the hell up my abusers, you guys are just like trying to give me opportunities passively and things of that nature. And you're just like you're not even like providing the opportunities. You're breadcrumbing it, and you're still trying to pretend like you have control or authority. You're trying to still like make it. You're still trying to not flex, but you're still trying to give you know exhibit an illusion of power or exhibit as much as you can of power. And it's just like so gross. You're just like, here, fine, here, take these opportunities. Now that I've gotten to a standpoint where like you can't like get me to a moment of patience or anything like that. You can't bribe me with patience or anything of that nature when you showed your ass. So now you're just like, okay, well, you must not want it then. And it's just like, come on, now stop it. It's literally like like a kid where you take another child's toy and the child is either like really upset, obviously, and for just cause. And so the kid is probably going to like go tell your parents or whatnot like that, and you're just like, fine, no, here. You like, okay, well then you must not want it. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, for real. Like, you just I'm telling you, you do nothing but just exhibit yourselves as children in fucking pajamas. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. I could do this, but no, you choose and you cherry pick exactly what the fuck it is that you want to do, but you don't want to do it. You don't actually do it. You do the easy shit. You do the shit where you work in tandem with other fucking people. But when it comes to the things that actually fucking truly is showing that, you're a big person, you're silent. It's like you will apologize for the drunk friend for being a mess, but if you happen to be the drunk or drug addict or anything like that, whatever kind of mess or fuck up that you've done, you want to stay silent about, because it's okay when you want to pardon and and explain and excuse your forefathers and your relatives, your ancestors, about their abusive actions when it came to slavery. But when it comes to you actually making that same fucking error, all of a sudden, like, oh, you won't even say anything. You were pretending like literally nothing had happened. In fact, it's worse because now you're also trying to like, make it seem like any type of action that I do or any type of like feeling that I have is just as bad. The fuck out of here. That's some punk coward ass shit. I call it out because it literally is. It's some dumb fucking shit. It is. It is. It completely is. So let's see what else. I wanted to go through the bullshit of literally you guys trying to come up with like, so in the midst of this, I definitely have a playlist where you guys are in denial and talking about some it's called cruelties to slaves, because It's like God didn't forget about get forget about you. Trust in His divine timing. Like you guys have literally decided to go mental by watching me persevere through a lot of shit or having resilience, and then monopolizing it through religion and life coaching things. So then from there, you decided to develop different types of businesses, and you decided to develop different types of businesses, schemes, and yeah, opportunities under the false identity of being either a pastor, life coach, or like a spiritual leader, thinking that what I'm going through or what I'm doing is for like God's purpose or a divine purpose, and that spirit, which is really just people who have God complexes, are giving you information, and you're in turn telling me exactly how I should live my life when you're doing it under illegal and unethical and immoral actions. And I also said that I've also provided the what is it, footage from a virtual court and documentation in video while I was in the courthouse at the family court office to get my my a copy of my temporary restraining order from certain people that was filed since 2020, since November, no, since November or July of 2022. And it's just like, you guys are still trying to have this illusion of I have contact with people who I absolutely don't and don't want to. So now you guys have made a storyline about why that is, and it's just really gross by assuming, or not even assuming, but knowing that I don't have a relationship or want a relationship with certain people, but thinking that it's okay for you to say that I do. Under the, under the direct, you know, um, punishments and punishments of slavery, you guys are really trying to rewrite my history, which is very, again, very predictable and very, expected of you guys, considering that's what white people did to black people in the history books. But I feel like, everything should definitely be, everything should be definitely be discussed because it's really fucking wild. So like I said, this video is called Kumbaya-ish because y'all do the most when it comes to like so basically it's just like, recently this past Saturday on Saturday Night Live, you did this, and for the people who know, they know, and for other ones who are, obviously the abusers, they're gonna try to make it seem like it's nothing or that it's fabricated, or I mean, so or not fabricated or exaggerated. But in Saturday Night Live, you guys definitely did the most by just showing your thing. Was just like, look, we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should definitely be just trying to, keep this under wraps, keep this hidden, and all that other shit. Um, and try to dismiss or silence or make people not want to listen to me. Not make people want to listen to Shalice, which is obviously me, because it's just going to it's just it's a lot of cleanup, basically. It's people are so fucking corrupt, and as they projected with me by saying it's diabolical, no, you guys are diabolical. I'm merely just observing and calling shit out for what it is. So with this, what I was just showing you, it was just like, you had like, you had the Jewish person, and you had in front of behind the dark skinned black people, and it was just like it was just to be clear. Like, I know you might think it's just like nothing, but this is a very tactical situation, and it's very tactical and symbolic, where it's just like you did this to make it seem like, okay, hey, look, behind the scenes you collaborated with whomever the group is behind the scenes of, like, black people and Jewish people. You guys got together and you had your little agreement with white people and I guess like a few non-black people, people who are people of color, and you guys were like, okay, well, these are the stipulations that we're gonna have. This is the agreement that we're gonna have. Like, everything's still gonna be good. We're gonna have, like, our moments to try to quell this and quiet this down, when it comes to, because things obviously seem heated, because whenever they do this, this is a moment to kind of like, it's like addressing a cranky baby, where society and whatnot like that is the cranky baby, and like the government, Jewish people and Black people and a few non-Blacks but people of color are fucking trying to come up with a plan in order to kind of quiet or quell the noise. So by doing so, they're just like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do, and it's always through, like, entertainment is literally just one way of going about it. Then you're gonna have the media. Then you're gonna start having like little hashtags, slogans, things like that. You're gonna see some TikTok content that is gonna be specially geared towards you. You're gonna see some advertisements. You're gonna see probably some movies and things of that nature. Songs, definitely too, that are going to be geared in order to make you think that, okay, everything is kumbaya-ish. It's the Hitler with the Jewish girl, the little Jewish girl kind of vibes. So yeah, basically, you have the Jewish people with the Black people saying like, hey, look, we're so cool, things of that nature. And then you definitely have Black people with the blonde hair. Like, yo, I'm telling you, this was all extremely tactical. And right now, people will do something like this. They'll probably look at my video, and try to pick apart different things in order to either to turn it around, but they'll definitely will look at this and probably will like do it in a performative way, like, oh, look at this. She thinks that this means this or this means that. Oh no, like honestly, she must be like, crazy, or she must be like, she's just thinking too much. Don't listen to her. Da, 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 da. But no, I'm giving you an opportunity to actually think for yourself, because once you see a lot of this performative behavior and people definitely clinking up and ganging together in a cliquish kind of environment, and you start kind of seeing things at not only just face value, but you kind of start seeing things from like, you take a step back and you realize exactly how often people say things, what they're actually saying. And do you hear that? It's a lot of pounding. But I'm saying, probably, if anything, they're just like definitely trying to, people are really upset. So, and I must be spot on then. So let me keep going. So you're going to just take a step back, and you're going to start listening to exactly like what people are saying, how they're saying it. You're going to listen to the content that they start posting. If it looks anything unrelated to me, if you're going to see anything that happens to do with, if it seems to be like any kind of snide comment or anything particularly characteristic that alludes to me, you're going to start seeing something that's definitely has that whole sense of negativity, negative vibes. And because I have, the number of followers that I have, it's just you it really makes sense. Like, if you just start thinking for yourselves, you would definitely start seeing patterns. Like, it's not hard to have an intuition if you really just, if you're not entirely a sheep, and if you actually just, think for yourself, and not try to go with the trend, or if you're not always for a trend. If you happen to see a trend, if you ever are the person who looks at something that's trendy and be like, you know what, that's not for me. That's one step to actually, having an individual thought, which is totally fine. People want you to be very herd mentality. And the sad thing is just that you can be in that herd mentality and find yourself really falling off a cliff because you were following just a whole bunch of people, like a stampede or something like that, and it just goes down fucking off the cliff. Not even like down a hill, but just like off the cliff. Mm. So one of the things that this was also pointing towards was just that the teacher, so my abuser, has done teaching on the side, and it was just like that was kind of a copycat situation, considering that I worked in a teaching on a campus. So, and I did do like teaching, well, assisted teaching, back in the day, or like like volunteering with like kids and things of that nature. So back, back in the day. So, but yes, so I mean, that was like copycat things that somebody had decided to become like a teacher for themselves, like a teacher themselves. But this right here is definitely what you call it's like a spin tactic where you do placement kind of situations. It's placement situations. So basically, here, how do I say? If somebody is okay, hmm, I ain't gonna use them. I was gonna say something about like Tory Lanez or R. Kelly when it comes to because I'm just saying as far ah okay I'm not going to touch those topics because I think those are very like sensitive topics, especially considering what the fuck that they've done. So trigger warnings. So no pun intended to that. But it was just like okay. So it's like because these people definitely happen to gear towards doing corrupt things and they cherry pick on like who actually can get away with it versus who can't. Because my abusers are actually pedophiles and people who do like domestic violence to women, but they cherry pick on actually who gets to be locked up and who doesn't. So, and in this, for instance, say for instance, is it's like ugh, I'm sorry. No, I don't want to. I don't want to use them as an example because I don't want any of like an R. Kelly supporter to try to use that in order to speak on behalf of him. So no, I'm not going to use that. And I don't want to use the pedophile or domestic violence because what can I say? I, I don't want to give supportive evidence, like not supportive evidence, supportive material in order for you to use that in order to like to like manipulate people. But it's just like I witnessed, yeah, babies, yeah, okay, you can drive by whatever. It would be nothing. So I hope you got my good side. Actually, this is really cute today. It's cute enough. It's cute enough. Get my good thing. Get my good thing. Um, I I definitely see it as hmm, sorry. People were doing like those drive-bys. Like I would be more impressed if you had actually stopped, put down the window, and were just. I would be more impressed by that than you riding down with like your tinted windows and shit like that. Like, okay, you just wasted your gas to do nothing. Like, yo, you just seriously just like you could have done more of like I don't know something, but it was just like. I see nothing. You probably were making like crazy ass gestures or something like that. For all I know, you were probably going, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. For all I know, you probably like probably please slow down. Like, So cry me a fucking river. Like I don't understand how people think that they're trying to like, get my goat. And I'm just like, I am so annoyed by you. You've done the most when it comes to fucking my resume, like my life resume of humanitarian shit. And I'm just like, y'all have really fucking did truly the fucking most. And I am just disgusted, completely and utterly disgusted. So anyway, this is uh, so this right here is yeah. So placement. This is like a toxic placement. If it was Britney Spears or something like that, say let's do something positive. Let's say that the topic was you need to do a tactic of bringing in Britney Spears, which is good because it's actually coincidental considering that she had people who were she had her own family decide to like take her money and things of that nature. What was it called? I can't think of the word right now. Ugh. Hold on, let me look it up 'cause that would definitely Britney Spears family. Oh, brother. Oh, conservatorship. So yeah, Britney Spears had like a conservatorship placed upon her by her family, and it was just like they fuck with her mental health and her well being for so long that she is just kind of like an unwell person. According to the media, who knows if that's actually being planned? Because for a while, for a period of time, like with musicians and things of that nature, they were actually pretty like they were actually pretty like in tandem. So it seemed it just seems too fucking suspicious. It seems like honestly that like that whole kookiness could be. It seems like that kookiness could actually be like I don't know planned or acted out. Like I'm so legit for real because like she was working very closely with like with ops or the abusers and things of that nature. So it was just like I shit you not. Like when it comes to oh my god, so many birds. When it comes to this actually like a meaning I feel like considering the situation. So I'm going follow with me and don't think of it as a conspiracy theory. Don't, because I'm gonna have like some supportive evidence in regards to this kind of shit. But when I was starting out on YouTube in 2010, like I had I'm not saying like I had like close connections, but like I was associating with people and things seemed like, pretty cool for for what it's worth. And then all of a sudden, like, and during that time, before that time, I was being surveilled. I was just noticing like weird kind of like energy from different type of people and things of that nature. But seriously and sadly, I didn't really pick up on anything until maybe like 20, like 2017, 2018. And even then, no, like 2018, yeah, like around 2018, 2019. And then from there, I just I noticed different things prior to 2010, but it was mostly like all of a sudden people were just kind of like being passive aggressive, mean to me. And then during that period, I started having to cut off family and things of that nature because they were being like extremely disrespectful. So I had to like obviously like protect my own environment. From there, I was noticing people on social media were being like very like weird with my presence and my energy, and I was just like, and I always kept getting initially like one dislike on a video every single time when I started having like YouTube videos, and from there, I also started having from there I started having like people like kind of copy or like my information like my accounts were being hacked and I'm just like yo this is just weird sadly because I was still around too many people in order to be like understanding of like what the fuck was going on. I was too distracted and people were literally around me were the fucking snakes, were the fucking sharks. It was like my own relatives and the people who were close to me. So slowly but surely during that period of time I was cutting off people. I was separating from people. I was noticing exactly my surroundings and people's behavior, people's words, people's actions, people's like literally what they would do, what they would say, how they would, would respond. If I had a question or anything like that, it was just like, okay, if I wanted to help them out, or if they needed help and I'd help them out, or if I needed any type of like, any type of feedback for, my content or anything like that, how negative how people were, or how they didn't want to, applaud me or even support me and things of that nature. And then they would try to use reverse psychology or try to shame or no, like some type of psychology on me, like mental manipulation about, oh, you shouldn't work for like validation. And I'm like, I'm not working for validation. Like I'm expecting, to have some type of support from people within my own fucking circle. Bruh, it was ridiculous. It got to a point where I was just like, say no more. Like honestly, I only have to say I literally I do I'm the kind of person who obviously you can see. I'm the kind of person who's extremely independent. And I've been that way since I was a damn child. So it was just like, you ain't gotta say it. Like, yo, you don't have to say it twice. You don't have to say it 3 times to me. I will note that shit the first time. I will clock that shit. And then I'm gonna leave you alone. Seriously. It got to the point where I literally had to X people out of my life. Little did I know that these people were still kind of surrounding me via black market or whatever like that because they were watching me, surveilling me. When I had got this property, people were still watching me. People were watching me a few years after I got this property. People were being very nasty and malicious. It had a whole lot of ill intent and exploitative reasons. People who were watching me from like their teens are now in their 30s or 40s. Excuse me, people who are watching me in their teens are now in their late 20s and 30s, and people who are watching me in their 20s are obviously like in their 30s and 40s. So this is really like fucking foul, and so forth and so forth, because they've literally connected and networked with people who were in political seats of power, and those people are anywhere from like definitely 30s, 40s, 50s, sometimes 60s. So you can imagine like how old they are, and they're probably even retired by now, considering the money that they made or just the front that they're doing. And I have transactions, I have emails, I have proof where I'm literally connecting with people just to try to get some answers on like, why am I being stalked? I'm being harassed, or like my accounts have been hacked. I need help. Like, and people are just like pretending to actually be of service, but whole entire time people are literally the fucking abusers, and it's black people. They've used this opportunity in order to get themselves up. They've used this opportunity in order to put themselves in and in seats of power and things of that nature. It's been abuse. It's been abuse for over 10 years. And people who are young, well, people who were young and around like their teens or something like that, are using it upon are taking it upon themselves to like still be nasty for no fucking reason. But all it's really doing is just really showing exactly how foul black people will want to move. Where oh, they don't mind being like, they don't mind oppressing others. They just don't want to be oppressed themselves. You know, it's weird because it's just like, okay, well, we wanted reparations for what you guys did to our ancestors, but it was just like it's not fair because like we don't mind oppressing people. It's shit's crazy. Shit's really fucking crazy. So the thing about that I was mentioning before with Britney Spears and using like targeted placement when it comes to like social media and things of that nature. It would be what people could wear in order to, I guess, if she were to ever come up with an album and people wanted to do some targeting placement, then they would do like, probably it would be an increase of blonde hair. It would be playing her music. It would be wearing outfits that she wore back in the day, or hairstyles that she wore back in the day. It would be an increase in memes. It would be related material like "Hit Me Baby One More over time or something like that in like a funny way. It would be things of like, maybe like a commercial that she was in or product placement, things of that nature. Um, or it can be like it can be that and in regards to like, her singing as a background song for as a background song for shoot. Oh, he's so pretty. I'm looking at a starling right now. He is so pretty. They're babies. Um, using a damn it, what the hell? It's basically like those kind of things in order to do target placement. And I was stating that she's likely either faking it or not faking it, but it was just like it's crazy on how the government is able to manipulate or whomever is able to monopolize off of celebrities, influencers, and as such to get the job done, get things done, um, to threaten, coerce, or intimidate other people. It's wild. It's wild. It's insane. Oh, Amara Masonic. I've seen somebody with the license plate today. It said Masons, and at the very bottom of the license plate, it said Amaranth. Order of the Amaranth was formed as a fraternal and charitable organization whose membership of men and women with Masonic affiliation share in social activities to promote the growth of the order. It's not like what I'm saying right now is very silent or taboo. I mean, this person literally had it on their license plate, so it's like, so it's wild. Like, oh, don't talk about it, but I'm just like, it literally like, it's wild. Like it was literally on her license plate. What are the beliefs of the Order of Amaranth? Although a belief in the existence of a supreme being is foremost to being a member. Oh my God. We welcome many faiths represented within our membership. Our ritual is an integral part of our order and emphasizes the value of everyday life. Founded on the sublime teachings of truth, faith, wisdom, and charity. Mother, I it's just wild because I feel like it was more just kind of truth about from back in the day, more kind of truth and integrity from back in the day during the civil rights movement than there is today. I feel like the 1960s was really sandwiched between two eras that showed um that showed more of black people wanting to be minuses, when it wanted to be like oppress other black people. In the civil rights, don't get me wrong and don't get me twisted. You had black people who were, pacifying to white people and non-blacks, but it's not about like, but you had black people obviously with civil rights movements and civil rights leaders, you had black people who were definite black and white people alike. You had black people who were working in tandem together, about equality or equity. Mostly just equality, expecting thinking that they were going to get equality, but they were actually supposed to be working towards, kind of like an equitable situation. Even today, black people don't have like have equality or equity. I mean, like they have like they have an illusion basically, but they're still at a deficit. And like they still did it. They got shortchanged. They really did. It was just like, it's just like, whomever being like, okay, well, hey, look, I see that you're at a disadvantage. I'm gonna give you something. So I'm gonna give you this. And they'd be like, oh, sweet, I'll take this. All right, what you want? Later. Uh Slavery. Pretty much. I mean, they're obviously not gonna say that. Obviously, that, they played black people for a mark, pretty much. There's things, obviously, they signed their life over and things of that nature. But it was just like, okay, well, we want you to do this and we'll protect you in kind for this. Black people are like sweet. And of course, I'm not talking about all black people naturally, especially a black person myself. But it was just like they were just like, okay, sure, it's sweet. It's enough of them. It's enough black people. Um, and again, it's just like a cyclical situation of things that we have experienced in the past. When I said that it's sandwiched between, like, people were more true and genuine back then during the civil rights movement than they are today. People walked arm in arm, hand in hand, together, trying to look for a better future in hopes of a better future. Today they walk hand in hand, but like this, because and but with, like, cash sandwiched between it. They walk hand, cash, hand, sandwiched between it. Back then, it was skin on skin. It was like, Woodstock, hobby, hippie love, and all that other kind of stuff. It was supposed to be genuine shit, but now it's just. It was like one love back in the day. Now it's just like, there's still. Don't get me wrong. There's still that whole sex and situations. That hippie vibe, but it's no. It's not about one love. It's orgy, evil wickedness and intentions. It's the illusion of actually wanting equality and this, that, here, and the third, while actually being fucking vile and corrupt and things of that nature. And again, it was just like, yo, like, if you and there's just like a bunch of placements where people are trying to make the illusion of like, oh no, everything is copacetic, everything is kumbaya, and you have your target placement. Excuse me. You have your target placement of Kumbaya-ish. Oh look, like, we're good, we're everything, we're fine, da 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 da. And then you guys, I'm deleting this. Actually, I can delete this now. But yes, you guys have, like, literally, you'll have black people wearing blonde hair and things of that nature in order to. Wait, hold on. So you'll have black people wear, like, different type of things that will signify that they are cliquish. So you'll do, like, the blonde hair. You'll wear, like, the Van Cleefs. You'll be affiliated with certain type of people within, like, the beauty industry or the music industry, things of that nature, in order to show your affiliation, your allegiance. In addition to that, there's people who were literally started off super fucking young, super fucking young. So that was so it was part of this. So the reason why I did this, because this was connected to this. But yes, I'm putting it out there. It was just like, you'll have people who are affiliated and secretly connected in the group chats to try to shade me or try to silence me or try to discourage anything that's affiliated or kind of favors in connection with my characteristic or things of that nature. Um, and it's all tactics. It really is. It's like flying monkey spin tactics, things of that nature. So I'm at least saying this because, again, this is for the future. I have my video set to, obviously kids are not allowed to watch this right now, but it's just like, when you grow up, and this should ever be here, because I want to put this on multiple platforms. But it's just like, if there is a time when you should ever come to this or anything like that, um, you know, and if anybody has any sense now, then they know. I'm putting it out what everybody should already know. And if anybody of age, because I had this on No Kids, I have like all my videos, or at least all my videos should be on No Kids. I mean, except for the beauty ones. Then there shouldn't be any kind of room for error or confusion when it comes to people really just being called out for the toxic individuals that they are. This shit was wild. Ooh, pardon me. Ooh, working on truth. All right, it's an hour and 4 minutes. I actually could have finished this like a little bit sooner. But the whole. Okay, hold on. So again, with the target placement, it was just like, with regards to my abusers. This is like This also confirms who my abusers decided to use as, I guess, like their champions in regards to, trying to combat me. Now, here's the thing. All right, first, okay. So they decided, all right, so first off, you have here who's a teacher, and you have here who is who's supposed to be a fireman and supposed to be like first responders. So like, you would think of police, and you would think of firemen, you would think of, you would think of what is it, those people that ride in the ambulance, things of that nature when it comes to police, EMS or firemen. So they were just like, oh, give it up for the firemen. And with this one right here, you have this one is a teacher. Again, this person right here, one of my abusers, female teacher. Okay. It was also an interracial relationship, but reversed the races. For the teacher is black, and the first responder, the policeman, is a white male. So this is literally here, but this also showing is also showing interracial. It's also showing like the connection and the agreement between black and white, and it's also showing the connection between the was it the white people right here and black in general. It's showing the connection between those two champions, supposedly those two champions. They're little they're puppets basically that are used to go ahead and manipulate society and things of that nature. And it's also showing the connection between black and white in general, between society, especially Jewish and white, between society when it came to the agreement to be oppressive. They just basically undid a bunch of their shit, which is coincidental because I actually I was tutoring for like this test that I have upcoming. Well, just to kind of refresh some things for this test that I have, math test that I have. And I had to pass through like the Holocaust Center. And it's it's very coincidental on how people will say things. Yeah, the Holocaust slash Genocide Center. So it's just, it's very crazy on how you guys will try to always inform me to like, let go of the past, let go of the past, let go of the past. But here is big as that. It was at Warsaw Ghetto destroyed May 1943. It's just like I would never, never tell you guys to get over the shit that you guys actually went through. Because you have to look back sometimes in order to look fucking forward. But you're being gaslighting by telling me to stop holding on to the past when the past is still fucking happening. I don't talk about my childhood traumas. You are the only ones that are talking about the childhood traumas. You guys are trying to put words in my mouth. So it's things of that nature. Where if you see my videos and you see the things that I actually keep up to date is about current situations, which is like continuing. If you're still able to surveillance me, if I still have literally ops and abusers trying to try to assassinate my character and things of that nature, then that's a present day thing. You feel me? What's going on when you see commercials and advertisements about the Holocaust and things of that nature, you'll see a Jewish person that's deciding to talk about like, the KKK still having anti-Semitism. You talk about the KKK and then they talk about anti-Semitism and anti-Semitics, which is totally not unfounded and totally within their right to. When black people talk about it, they talk about police brutality, they talk about racism, they talk about being targeted of their skin color. Also something not unfounded, something that they, within, are right to discuss about. So you see the fucking hypocritical bullshit when you have like literally when I see that my fucking abusers are taking it upon themselves to be hypocrites, disgusting, trying to put on a front, victimize themselves. They are targeted. So it's just like, yo, like look how they're talking out their ass when it comes to like, trying to, the first thing you hear about is like, the Holocaust or our ancestors, and it's the slaves and all that other kind of shit. Like, yo, bro. And I'm like, yo, that's in your right to. But you guys need, like, honestly, it just looks really fucking wild on how you decide to take it upon yourself to try to silence me using the same fucking mouth that you use to protect yourself, using the same, either using my same words or using that same kind of message, but regenerate it for yourself, recycle for yourself. And here I'm also seeing, what is it, Darfur, a 21st century genocide. Obviously, things to definitely still talk about because it still happens. If you really believe in America, prejudice is foul play. Performative, bro. So performative. Choose respect. Crisis in Little Rock. To bigotry, no sanction. To persecution, no assistance. George Washington, 1790. What is in your universe of responsibility? I remember this tremendous feeling of being alone, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of there. I didn't know whether I would be injured. There was this deafening roar. I could hear individual voices, but I was not conscious of numbers. I was conscious of being alone. In 1957, 9 African American students were accepted for enrollment to integrate Central High, one of 3 all-white high schools in Little Rock, Arkansas. For 17 days that September, the Arkansas National Guard kept the Little Rock Nine from entering the school, but did nothing to disperse the crowd of angry whites gathered outside. Riveted to their television sets, Americans nationwide watched the crisis unfold. Finally, President Dwight Eisenhower sent 1,200 soldiers to Little Rock to protect the African American students and restore order. The next year, the 3 integrated high schools were closed. Mm. Below left, the Arkansas National Guard formed a human fence to keep the students out of, of the school. Below right, when Eckerd reached Central High, she found herself surrounded by a mob of angry students, some of whom she had known since she was 10 years old. As reports cover this story, the terrified 15-year-old headed for a bus stop amidst taunts and jeers. The harassment of black students and the few whites who befriended them continued throughout the year. I really do show y'all fucking asses. Like, I'm so serious. This country is such a fucking mess. And to see this, to know this, to have that resource in the palm of your fucking hand, because most people nowadays have a fucking phone, have the ability to look at our history and read it. Go to a library. You guys supposedly like to be avid readers. You have the ability. You have the ability to walk or to access books. Bring it to your home if you don't feel like walking over there or driving over there or can't. And you choose to just spit at it. Spit at it as you continue to repeat. Like you chose to literally frog leap. What are you doing? Like, seriously. You choose to actually frog leap over civil rights situations and try to bring back shit that happened from the past, where not all black people were fucking slaves, and decided to go ahead and reinstitute that fucking shit again with me. With me. And in 1930s, was the fucking Holocaust. So it was just like, it was only for over 10 years that it had happened. But it was just like when Jews were able to be free, and a number of them came over to America, obviously, because fuck the place that you actually were were taken to, and had to be migrated to. Well, excuse me, you migrated over to a safer area, but you were captured. Stop. You were captured and taken over. It's probably my fucking neighbors. You were captured and taken over to a place where literally you were just like had no free will. You were treated fucking inhumanely, but you didn't even learn your fucking lesson. You decided to still redo this shit. It's like, yo, you just didn't learn. You decided to do instead when you were oppressed. Ah, God, like, weren't your people oppressed enough in fucking Egypt? In fucking other times, you were oppressed in Egypt. You were oppressed you were oppressed and bullied by other fucking races, from Asians to Egypt, from Asians to Africans, and then by Germans. It was like you guys couldn't catch a fucking break. It was like what the fuck. And then African Americans, same thing. But it's like you don't learn your fucking lesson because you still decided to do what was done to you. So it's like you don't mind oppression as long as it doesn't happen to you. What the fuck? That's literally the gist of this video. Moving forward, I definitely will kind of reintroduce this, but I want to definitely have like my own visuals. I just, I'm just in the pursuit of justice. The thing that people just try to shy away from. The thing that people wanted to include in their own fucking history books and in their own museums, but want to stay mum and quiet and crickets when it comes to me. Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else that I want to go after? Because you guys keep saying, "Oh, look at the bigger picture," but what is the bigger picture? I'm literally stating out a lot of shit, and you're only giving me things about like how I benefited you and exactly what you can do in order to utilize me further after you give me justice, or if you decide to give me justice, instead of me trying to get it for myself. That just sounds like, again, more fucking slavery. It really does. Like, imagine, having to talk to like Harriet Tubman. I'm like, okay, okay, you're looking at this wrong, girl. You're looking at this wrong. Okay, your people built this. You feel me? We helped you. You should be thanking us. You really should. In fact, that's how some people really have the audacity to think that I owe them, when really I use independent feelings, independent resources that I had got when I was a child. What I had learned from as a child, dealing with being, around an abusive like environment. Well, an abusive person. So it's just honestly, I don't owe you anything. You owe me extremely, especially because money can't buy time. And if for you to try to say that, try to spin it and try to make it seem like, okay, well then why won't you go ahead and do it? Like go for the things that you want to, fine, here, take it. Must not want it then. That kind of energy, you are immediately calling out your bitterness and your jealousy and your opportunity. No, excuse me, your sabotaging ways. Because speaking about me in any type of negative way or any type of hypocritical way or a hypercritical way, it's just basically trying to sabotage my identity even further. Your existence is just a negative and in a very downward spiral. I'm seeing nothing but Black people and non Black people work in tandem to be crabs in a barrel and exhibit that. Exhibit being crabs in a barrel and poor leadership, poor, poor wayward souls. Not in a pitiful way, but in just a very off putting, disgusting, horrific way. They're literally undoing a lot of the shit that they try to work so hard for in order to like come up out of, and it's just like what they're doing nothing but validating their abusers for like, well, see, this is what we did. That's disgusting. That should be disgusting to you. Lastly, I showed that particular person's what was it, Instagram, because that person was a flying monkey. That person was obviously somebody who's really young, who's been watching this, because again, like I said, this has been going on for over 10 years. So that person account that I had showed you from, that person is a flying monkey. So naturally what that person is going to do, started out young, just like in Hitler, when he started going after kids particularly. So that's why I was just like, yo, I'm trying to work where it's just like undoing. It's trying to basically balance the fuck shit that's happening, because they've already done they're right now they're still doing kids. Like they're still trying to like taint and make toxic the minds of young people to make that shit seem like it's okay. They've already tainted teens. So basically, when anybody comes, my videos are like I said, restricted to restricted from children, so children can't really watch this. It's just like hopefully for the younger generation, if they should ever watch this or come upon this content, they will see. Excuse me, 'cause it's getting darker here. They will see that yeah, their parents and whatnot like that were literally fucked up. And if anybody in the future or even right now in the present happens to have any fucking sense and decide to do something about it besides using this in order to save their own asses, then it would be a much appreciated moment. Unfortunately, people who are adults now were targeted in order to targeted just like a book from like what was that tactic from Hitler where they had like what was it, the Hitler children, the Nazi children, because they had something in which they went after the what is it called, pardon me, Boy Scouts. Yeah, so they were indoctrinating the youth. How the Hitler youth turned a generation of kids into Nazis. Hitler Youth and the Real Nazi History, Jojo Rabbit. Um, yeah. Save Me, I'm Yours. Saving Our Children from Ritual Abuse and Nazi Mind Control. Mm. The Holocaust Explained, designed for schools. Of these, this is from the holocaustexplained.org. So if I'm, yeah. So of these, kinder was of particular importance, and women in Nazi Germany were encouraged to marry and have as many children as possible to further the Nazis. Hmm. Hmm. Again, it just seems really weird on how blacks and Jews, the ones who were, I'm telling you, popular or notorious, not notorious because that's a bad word, but famous for the horrific shit that they've been through. But in order to go ahead and, regurgitate or try to use shit and then, have it play out today, it's just wild and fucking insane. And then also, non-blacks and also whites. It's just man, it's insane. So yeah, design for schools, the disillusionment and the Hitler Youth. Okay, now let me also go into what is it? Hitler Youth. Boy Scouts. How the Hitler Youth turned a generation of kids into Nazis. Hitler Youth and the Boy Scouts of America, a comparison of aims. Boy Scouts, Bad Girls, and Hitler Youth. Though the Boy Scouts were banned, the Nazis co-opted many of its activities and traditions. Hitler Youth took part in typical scouting type activities like camping trips, singing, crafts, and hiking. They went to summer camps, wore uniforms, recited pledges, and told stories over campfires. It was come on. See that too. Come on, Dust. A little feather duster. Members would be educated into Nazi ideology and had the genius of Hitler relentlessly drilled into them. It seems like the religion of today, the spiritual religion of today, basically it went so fucking mainstream that even commercials and things of that, like companies and things of that nature, was like, talking about it for a very strong period of time. I think it was around like no, excuse me, 2018, 2017. You were seeing Zodiac and spiritual situations from like McDonald's. I should you not like HBO Max. You were seeing it in like soda ads and product placements, everything when it came to discussing about like spirituality. So yes, things of that nature. And that's not just with children. I mean, obviously that's what talking about like teens and things of that nature. So yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of glitz and glamour and a lot of things to like really like get people's attention and just to kind of keep the shit going. So I want to just call things out as it comes along, as I come up about it. And uh, so yeah, I mean, people were over here threatening my life anyway, so it's just like, okay, well, here we go. So it's not like you guys were intending to actually help me. It was always the illusion of helping me, right? It was the extending the arm, knowing that I can't reach it, while having a fucking ladder right beside you. I'm just saying for a lot of people, not for everybody, but just for like a lot of people, for the majority. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna go. Bye.